I never imagined my life would become this tangled web of secrets, guilt, and impossible choices. My name is Sarah, I'm 32 years old, and I live in a quiet suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. From the outside, we look like the perfect Christian family. My husband David leads worship at our church every Sunday, our 2 kids attend the best private school in town, and our home is always open for Bible study groups. But behind closed doors, behind the smiles we wear at church potlucks and community events, there's a truth so dark and complicated that I can barely sleep at night anymore. It all started 3 years ago when David lost his job at the accounting firm. The company downsized, and suddenly we went from comfortable middle-class living to struggling to pay our mortgage. David applied everywhere, sent out hundreds of resumes, but nothing came through. The rejection letters piled up on our kitchen counter like a monument to our failing dreams. I watched him deteriorate day by day, this strong man of faith who always told me God had a plan, suddenly looking defeated and hollow. If you're finding this story compelling, I really need your help to grow this channel. Please click that subscribe button right now. We're working hard to reach 17,000 subscribers, and your support means everything. Just one click on that red subscribe button can make all the difference. I had been working part-time at a salon downtown, doing nails and occasionally hair when they needed extra hands. It wasn't much, but it was something. Then one afternoon, a regular client named Victoria pulled me aside. She was always impeccably dressed, drove a Mercedes, and tipped generously. She asked me to meet her for coffee after my shift, said she had a business proposition that could change my life. At that coffee shop on Trade Street, Victoria laid out an opportunity that made my stomach turn and my heart race at the same time. She ran what she called a companionship service for wealthy businessmen visiting Charlotte. She needed educated, attractive women who could hold conversations, attend dinners, and provide company. She swore it was legitimate, that the clients just needed someone sophisticated to accompany them to business dinners and social events. The pay was extraordinary, more in one night than I made in 2 weeks at the salon. I should have walked away right then. Every fiber of my being, every Sunday school lesson from my childhood, every verse David quoted during our morning prayers screamed that this was wrong. But then I thought about our maxed-out credit cards, the second mortgage notice we'd received, my daughter's asthma medication we could barely afford. I told Victoria I needed time to think. That night, I couldn't eat dinner. David noticed immediately, asking if I was feeling well, praying over me with such genuine concern that I almost broke down and confessed what Victoria had offered. Instead, I smiled and blamed it on stress from work. After the kids went to bed, I sat in our bathroom with the door locked, crying silently into a towel so no one would hear. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to hear how this story unfolds. We're building an incredible community here, and we need just a few more people to reach 17,000 subscribers. Your click really matters, so please subscribe now. The decision I made next would shatter everything I thought I knew about myself, my marriage, and my faith. I called Victoria the following morning and told her I was interested, but I had conditions. No physical intimacy, strictly companionship. She laughed, not unkindly, and said that's what all the girls start out saying. Those words should have been my final warning, but desperation has a way of making you ignore red flags the size of billboards. My first assignment was the following Friday. A businessman from New York was staying at the Ritz-Carlton uptown and needed a dinner companion for a client meeting. Victoria assured me it was completely professional. I told David I had picked up an evening shift at the salon for a special event. The lie came out so smoothly it terrified me. I met Charles in the hotel lobby, and he was exactly as Victoria described. Late 50s, expensive suit, wedding ring prominently displayed. Dinner was at a steakhouse in South End, and true to Victoria's word, it was completely professional. Charles and his client talked business while I smiled, asked intelligent questions, and played the role of the sophisticated companion. At the end of the night, Charles handed me an envelope with $800 in cash. I had never held that much money at once in my entire life. The guilt hit me the moment I got in my car. I sat in that parking deck for 20 minutes, sobbing, asking God for forgiveness while clutching that envelope like it was both my salvation and my damnation. But then I thought about how this money could cover our electric bill, buy groceries for 2 weeks, get my son the new shoes he desperately needed. I dried my tears and drove home. Please take a second to subscribe to this channel. We're so close to 17,000 subscribers, and I promise you, this story gets even more complicated. Click that subscribe button and join our community. It helps more than you know. I did 3 more assignments over the next month, each one following the same pattern. Professional dinners, polite conversation, generous payment, crushing guilt. David never questioned my supposed extra shifts at the salon. The money was making a real difference in our lives. We caught up on bills. I could buy the kids new clothes without anxiety, and David seemed less depressed seeing our financial situation improve. But then everything changed with a client named Marcus. He was different from the start, younger, more charming, and more insistent. The dinner went fine, but when we returned to his hotel at the epicenter, he invited me up for a nightcap. I should have said no, should have stuck to my boundaries, but he was offering double the usual rate, and we had just received another notice about our mortgage being in arrears. In that hotel room, Marcus made it crystal clear that he expected more than conversation. When I tried to leave, he didn't force me, but he made me feel foolish for thinking this was ever about just companionship. He said every woman in Victoria's service eventually understood what the real job was. I left that room feeling dirty, ashamed, and angry at myself for being so naive. I blocked Victoria's calls for a week, returned to my regular hours at the salon, and tried to pretend that chapter of my life had never happened. But the money had run out, and new bills were arriving daily. David had a promising interview, but it would be weeks before we heard back. Then our car broke down, requiring a $1,200 repair we absolutely could not afford. Victoria caught me at the salon, walking in like any regular client. She sat in my chair and spoke quietly, saying she understood I'd had a bad experience, that Marcus was no longer in her client roster, and that she had clients specifically requesting me because I was educated, classy, and genuinely good at the companion role. She offered me a regular client, someone who respected boundaries, who genuinely just wanted company for his business trips to Charlotte once a month. The pay would be consistent and generous. That's when I realized that David hadn't made peace with our situation at all. He had simply found a way to rationalize his own feelings of inadequacy and failure by becoming invested in my arrangement with Robert. By helping me, by driving me, by negotiating terms with Victoria. He was transforming his shame about not being able to provide for his family into something he could control and manage. But I had changed too. The woman who had first met with Victoria 3 years ago, terrified and desperate, was gone. In her place was someone harder, more cynical, someone who had learned to compartmentalize her life so completely that she could pray with her children at night and meet a stranger in a hotel the next evening without the 2 worlds touching. Robert had also evolved from a simple client into something more complicated. Our monthly dinners had become genuine conversations. He knew details about my life that David didn't, understood fears and dreams I had never voiced to my husband. There was no physical relationship between us, that boundary had remained firm, but there was an emotional intimacy that felt more dangerous than any physical betrayal could have been. 3 months ago, everything reached a crisis point. Robert's wife passed away after her long illness, and he called me not as a client but as a friend, asking if we could meet just to talk. I went to his hotel, and for the first time, there was no payment, no transaction, just 2 people who had somehow become genuine friends through the strangest of circumstances. Robert told me he was done with the arrangement, that he couldn't continue paying for companionship when what he really wanted was authentic connection. Then he did something I never expected. He asked me to leave David and start a real relationship with him. He said he had fallen in love with me, that he knew I was unhappy, that he could give me a life without lies and compromise. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're so close to 17,000 subscribers, and this story is reaching its most intense moment. Click that red subscribe button now and help us reach our goal. Your subscription really matters. I went home that night in a complete daze. Robert's offer was impossible, insane, yet some small part of me was tempted. Not because I was in love with him, but because he represented escape from the elaborate web of lies and rationalizations my life had become. He offered simplicity in a life that had become impossibly complex. When I walked into our house, David was waiting up for me. He asked how the meeting with Robert went, and I realized I couldn't keep doing this anymore. I told him everything: Robert's wife's death, his confession of feelings, his offer to start a real relationship. I expected anger, jealousy, some kind of emotional reaction. Instead, David's first question was whether Robert was still willing to continue paying for our monthly arrangements. When I told him no, David actually looked disappointed. Not heartbroken that another man had confessed love for me, but disappointed about the loss of income. That moment crystallized everything that was wrong with our lives. We had become so twisted by financial desperation and rationalization that we had lost sight of basic human emotions, of what marriage actually meant. David saw me as an income source he had failed to replace. I saw him as a weak man who had become complicit in selling his own wife. We had both become unrecognizable to ourselves and each other. Last week, I received a call from Victoria. She said she had a new regular client lined up for me, someone who had specifically requested my profile, willing to pay even more than Robert had. She needed my answer within 48 hours. I haven't given her an answer yet. I also haven't told David about the offer, which might be the first secret I've kept from him in our new, twisted version of honesty. I've been sitting with this decision, trying to figure out who I am anymore, what I believe, what my marriage actually means. Please subscribe to help us reach 17,000 subscribers. Your support for this channel helps us keep sharing these difficult, real stories. Click that subscribe button right now and be part of our growing community. Robert texted me yesterday asking if I had thought about his offer. My kids have no idea that their parents' marriage is held together by lies and financial arrangements. My church friends think I'm living the dream of Christian family life. Nobody knows the truth except David, Robert, Victoria, and now all of you listening to this story. Here's what keeps me up at night. I'm not sure if what we're doing is survival or sin, sacrifice or surrender. David says we're doing what's necessary to protect our family. Robert says I deserve better than a marriage built on transaction. Victoria says I'm overthinking a simple business arrangement. And my own voice, the one I used to trust, has become so confused by guilt, rationalization, and desperate circumstances that I don't know what it's telling me anymore. I look at David leading worship on Sunday mornings, and I wonder if he feels the same cognitive dissonance I do, or if he's genuinely made peace with who we've become. I look at my kids and know that everything I've done has been to give them security and opportunity, but I wonder what they would think of their mother if they knew the truth. The money from Robert allowed us to save our house, pay off debts, give our children advantages we couldn't have otherwise provided. But it also cost us something I'm not sure we can ever get back. We lost our innocence, our simplicity, our ability to look at each other without seeing the compromises we've made. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We need your help to reach 17,000 subscribers. Just click on that red button and join this community. Your support means everything as we continue to share these powerful, real-life stories. Robert is waiting for my answer. Victoria is waiting for my decision about the new client. David would probably support whatever choice I make, which somehow makes it worse. And I'm standing at a crossroads with no clear path forward. Part of me wants to accept Robert's offer, to run away from the life David and I have built on lies and transactions. Part of me wants to accept Victoria's new client and keep doing what we've been doing because at least it's stable and known. Part of me wants to burn it all down, confess everything, and start over with nothing but honesty and empty pockets. But here's the real question I'm wrestling with. Can you ever really go back once you've crossed certain lines? David and I have learned to rationalize and compartmentalize so effectively that I'm not sure we remember how to be the people we were before all of this started. We've built a life on compromise, and I don't know if there's a foundation underneath strong enough to support anything else. The night is quiet right now. David is asleep next to me, my kids are safe in their rooms, and from every external measure, we're a successful family who made it through hard times. But I'm lying here with Robert's text on my phone, Victoria's offer hanging in the air, and the weight of every choice I've made pressing down on my chest. So now I'm asking you, because I genuinely don't know the answer anymore, what would you do in my place? Would you leave with Robert and start fresh with someone who claims to truly see you? Would you continue the arrangement because it works and provides for your family? Would you confess everything and risk destroying your children's stability? Would you try to go back to who you were before, even though that person couldn't keep your family afloat? Please subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts in the comments. We're working hard to reach 17,000 subscribers, and your engagement helps more than you know. Click that subscribe button now and tell me, what would you do? What should I do? Because I honestly don't know anymore, and I need to give someone an answer soon. The hardest part isn't even the choice itself. It's realizing that there might not be a right answer, that sometimes life backs you into corners where every option costs you something you can't afford to lose. David and I started out as one thing and became something entirely different through 1,000 small compromises. Can we ever become ourselves again? Should we even try? I keep thinking about a sermon David gave last month about grace and redemption, about how God meets us in our brokenness. I wonder if he was talking about us, if he sees our situation as something that can be redeemed, or if he's just as lost as I am but better at pretending he has it figured out. Before you go, please make sure you're subscribed. We're almost at 17,000 subscribers, and this community is built on your support. Click that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think. What would you do in my situation? Your perspective might be exactly what I need to hear. My phone is lighting up with another text. It might be Robert. It might be Victoria. It might be David asking if I'm coming to bed. And I'm still here, frozen, unable to move forward or back, caught in the life I've created, wondering how a desperate decision made 3 years ago led me to this moment. So tell me, what would you do? And please, subscribe to help us reach 17,000 subscribers. Your click matters, your voice matters, and your perspective on this impossible situation might help not just me, but everyone else facing their own impossible choices. Click that red button now and share your thoughts. What would you do in my place?